Good morning. Today I want to answer a question a student has raised with me, which is how to improve her English sentences. She finds that typically her sentences are short and lacking detail. This is a very common problem with students. I often find when I speak with a student, especially at the beginning, that they use very short and simple sentences, sometimes only 1 or 2 or 3 words. This is the kind of language which is appropriate for young children, maybe 7 or 8 years old, but not for adults. When we learn our own native language, at first we can only use very short sentences, like "My name is John," or "I am hungry," or "I want something to eat." But as we gain more experience, we develop and improve our sentences to express more ideas and give more detail. We do this because we want to communicate our ideas better with other people. So let me give you a simple example. The first sentence: I got up at 6 o'clock this morning. A very simple sentence, but even some students have difficulty with that. How can we improve that sentence? Well, we do it by adding more detail and ideas. A good sentence should have at least 2 or 3 ideas. So we can improve this. For example, I usually get up at 7 o'clock, but this morning I got up at 6 o'clock because I have an important interview which I wanted to prepare for. So the new sentence has more ideas. It has the idea that I usually get up at 7 o'clock. It has the idea that this morning I got up earlier, and it has the idea that I got up because I wanted to prepare for an interview. This is basically all we have to do to improve our English. Sounds very easy, doesn't it? But in practice it is very difficult, especially for students who are not in the habit of using English. Ways you can try to improve your English by yourself. Firstly, you can try to talk to yourself in English rather than Thai. You are thinking and talking to yourself all the time, every moment of the day, but of course you are using Thai to talk with yourself. All you have to do is to try to get into the habit of changing this Thai language into English. You don't have to speak out aloud. All you have to do is speak in your own mind. This will help you to develop your skills at constructing sentences, also help you to remember vocabulary. It's important to realize that learning a language is not like learning any other subject. With any other subject, you can just learn the material and then repeat what you have learned. But with language, each sentence can be different, and when you have to express your ideas, there are many different ways in which you can do this. You never reach a stage where you can say, "Oh, I am 100% perfect in this language," not even in your own native language. It's always a process of practicing, turning your thoughts into words. You will find, for example, if you don't speak Thai for a while, you may have difficulty expressing yourself, especially in complicated matters. Another method you can use is when you're listening to Thai or you're reading Thai, try to translate it into English. This is the same process as trying to turn your own thoughts into English, but it has the advantage that you don't have to create the story. The story is already there for you. So So let's try an example. You're going to listen to a short extract from a Thai story. In the story, a young girl is going to hospital to have a serious operation. You'll find that when you try to do translation, you might be struggling to find vocabulary to match the Thai vocabulary. This is good because this is going to push you into developing your vocabulary and expressions.
เช้าวันนัดของหมอมาถึงพี่เต้นทำตัวเหมือนเดิมทุกประการโดยการขับรถเต่ามารับแต่เช้าน้ำตาลเดินช้าๆออกไปขึ้นรถพี่เต้นกระซิบว่าเข้มแข็งหน่อยสิน้ำตาลหันไปแยกเขี้ยวให้นึกในใจว่านี่น้ำตาลนะไม่ใช่คนเก่งอย่างพี่มนยิ่งใกล้โรงพยาบาลเข้าไปน้ำตาลก็ยิ่งรู้สึกกลัวพอถึงหน้าโรงพยาบาลก็มือเย็นเฉียบจนแม่ต้องคว้าไปกุมไว้และน้ำตาลก็ค้นพบว่ามือแม่ก็เย็นเฉียบเหมือนกันพอถึงโรงพยาบาลขบวนแห่ของน้ำตาลก็แห่น้ำตาลขึ้นตึกไปหมอชวาลยิ้มให้กำลังใจน้ำตาลแล้วส่งน้ำตาลไปเข้ากระบวนการเตรียมตัวนอนโรงพยาบาลคืนหนึ่งนะหมอว่าจะได้เตรียมพร้อม
So now you have listened to that short extract. I'm going to try to translate it into English. But before I do that, you might like to try yourself. You should be better at it than me because I'm quite sure you understand the Thai better than I do. But anyway, here we go. When the day of her appointment with the doctor came or arrived, Piden, who is a friend of the heroine heroine's name is Namdan. Piden, as usual, came to fetch Namdan early in the morning to take her to the hospital. Namdan walked slowly to the car and Piden whispered to her, "Be brave." Namdan responded by thinking to herself, "I am Namdan, I'm not Pimon, not a competent person like Pimon." I should explain here that Pimon is the girlfriend of Piden, and Namdan is jealous of her because she has romantic feelings for Piden. As Namdan got closer to the hospital, she became more afraid. And when she got to the front of the hospital, her hands were cold. I'm not sure about some of the words here, but her mother then takes hold of her to give her encouragement. But when her mother holds her, Namdan realizes that her mother's hands are also cold. When they got to the hospital, the group escorting Namdan went up the stairs into the building. The doctor smiled at her with encouragement, then took her to the room to prepare her for the operation. He said, "You have to sleep in the hospital for 1 night." I hope that is a fairly accurate translation. I hope you can see that this method can also be fun. At first it may seem quite difficult, but if you try to practice it regularly, you should find it will get easier. And lastly, let me give you one other method you can use. Trying to construct sentences by yourself is okay, but sometimes you need help to see how sentences can be structured. So one easy way to do this by yourself is to listen to good quality English, for example in audiobooks. That's the same method I use for learning Thai. I listen to Thai audiobooks. By listening to the way English is structured by professional writers who are using English in the very best way, you can get the best examples of how we compose complicated sentences. You can also listen to other English material. I would recommend listening rather than reading, because listening is always the weak area for students of English. Their reading is often quite good, but listening is always quite bad. So you need to focus on that. But I wouldn't suggest material like movies, because they often use very bad English. Audiobooks are very good. Listen to BBC programs. Listen to my YouTube, of course, where I have over 200 videos. And all this in the end comes down to how willing you are to work hard. This is the essential ingredient in improving your language. If you just keep complaining every day, oh, my English is no good, then it's not going to improve. Rather than complain, do something useful and try to follow the advice which I have given you. Bye for now.